So let's say we look down at the 9-8 of clubs. Decided to defend against the under the guns open to $25. And the flop comes Jack Jack 10, and he checks to us with an open-ended straight flush draw. We decide to lead here. Having only 9 high here, we love having fold equity, and our hand can also stand up against a lot of action. The under the gun player elects to check raise here to 80, and I think there's really only one thing to do here with 9 high, and we call. The turn is an interesting card. It's the Jack of Diamonds, so there's 3 jacks on the board. So our draw pretty much just went down to 2 straight flush outs. It's going to be pretty often here that under the gun has a full house. But he elects to lead 100, and we all know how difficult quads are. So I think we're going to get him to fold a lot of full houses here if we raise. And calling $100 into a pot of $317 for 2 outs just doesn't give us the correct odds. So we decide to click it back, and we make the min raise at $200, which is actually kind of a scary bet here. I don't think we're going to get aces to fold that often, which are definitely in under the guns range. But he doesn't have a lot of jacks. Ace Jack of spades, King Jack of spades. Hands like that are just few and far between pretty much. So he goes into the tank, which is really, really good for us. Once he starts moving his cards around and starting to look nervous, we're pretty sure he doesn't have a check. And if he does the side all in, it's a pretty easy fold. He starts talking like, oh, blah, 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 shows a 10, and makes the fold. So we roll over, see if we can get a little tilt going. But kind of interesting play here, and turned our straight flush draw into a bluff, and it worked out. So good little pot to start the session off here. So in this hand, we look down at 2 red aces from the button. There's 2 limps in front of us, and we make a standard raise here to $25. Hijack calls, cutoff folds, and the blinds fold. Flop comes ace king 6, and the hijack leads into us here for $25. This is kind of an interesting lead here, and I elect to make a small raise to 70, just in case he has some type of combo draw to the royal, like queen, jack of clubs, jack 10 of clubs, or 6-7 of clubs. Those type of hands are definitely calling and have a lot of equity against us. And then I just don't think his lead folding range is that big. So we're trying to build a pot here and play for stacks. So he takes a minute here, and elects just to call. I was getting a vibe that he was thinking about raising, which is obviously what we wanted, but he didn't do that. And the turn comes the king of hearts. So now we have aces full, and I don't think he limp calls ace king. So he checks, and we check it back pretty quick. River is a 6 of hearts, and he leads $85. This is beautiful. We have aces full, and we're being led into here on the river. Since he doesn't have a lot of full houses in his range that have a king in them, we're going to try to go for real small value here. Unless he limp called with king 6 of spades. He doesn't have a lot of kings. So we raised small to $210. Trying to target a king or like 7-6 of clubs. Any full house here, I think he's going to have to call and pay us off. This is where it gets kind of interesting. He decides to click it back. Pretty big, too. He elects to raise to $585. And we're pretty sure we're beat at this point. I just think that the hijack either has complete air or pocket sixes. Because even with the king, I don't think he's going to raise because I have so many ace kings in my range. So he makes it 585 here. Now the video's catching up. And you can pretty much tell I'm pretty flustered. So one thing I didn't know was that the bad beat here is aces full. So this is where things kind of get into.
Bad beat. Yes. Bad beat. Bad beat. Yes. Don't kill it. Yeah. We just won a bad beat jackpot.
So we call it off. We have to. And we hit the bad beat. Pretty unbelievably lucky. I was seriously thinking about making this fold, but there was a local grinder there who, once he saw the bet raise on the river, starts talking to the dealer going, what kind of promotions do we have tonight? Oh, there's a bad beat jackpot? That's cool. And then he actually asks, what's the minimum qualifying hand for a bad beat jackpot? And the dealer goes, aces full of tens. So everyone gets a nice table share. We luck out. Just a great addition to this little road trip here. Hey guys, kind of fell off the vlog there for 10 days or so. Got super lucky to hit the back beat. And then a couple seeds were just kind of playing in my mind that I don't need to play cards. I can just kind of enjoy my trip. The YouTube channel's not really doing much besides me putting a lot of time into editing. But made a commitment, so can't quit after 2 months. Gonna keep it going. So I was kind of putting in my mind, and then I was playing 3-5 at Talking Stick and had a really kind of cooler hand that we're going to talk about. And then I ran really bad in San Diego at Ocean's 11, or just north of San Diego, a town called Oceanside. So when those two things happened, and then I kind of did Joshua Tree for a couple days and was really enjoying the trip, I was just like, man, I don't really need to play cards. So there's a middle position raise to 20, and the cutoff, hijack, and button all call. We look down at the small blind with king, jack of clubs. Never folding, right? It's $17 to us to win 100, and I think we definitely have 17% equity. King high boards, jack high boards can get us in a little bit of trouble, but there's a lot of playability in this hand. But we're running good, right? So we mix it up here, and we're not really worried about any of the callers jamming on us. We're just worried about the opener. So we 3-bet to $105, and middle position, the opener, and the hijack call. And we go to a flop of king 10-9 with one club. So we flop a gutter, top pair, and a backdoor flush draw. Pretty much the best flop we can hope for, and we're gonna have to continue on this flop. blocker of the joint, and it's hard for someone to have ace king since we have a king blocker. I c-bet for $245, and middle position calls, and the hijack folds. So we built a pot now of $850. And the reason I chose 245 was because it sets up a good size river jam. That feels about right to me. So I would think that anyone who calls the flop would potentially have to call off the river. When he just flats, he could have queens, he could have jacks, he could have ace king, he could have king queen. And then obviously all the sets are in his range. Pocket kings is tough, but pocket tens, pocket nines. So we're not quite sure how we feel about it. The turn comes a 9 of clubs. So we're not drawing dead. Queen of clubs is a straight flush now. That's good. It's also less likely as pocket nines. So I think pocket tens is the hand we're most worried about here. And there's not too many combinations of that. So we jam 490 on the river, which is almost the max bet, and 850 is a real profitable play, and I don't think we're getting called by anything else. So we jam, and middle position goes into the tank. This is good news. And he starts talking. He goes, you either got jacks or you got aces. You would never jam with pocket kings. And I was like, it's a pretty good line of thought. And he goes, I can beat jacks, but I can't beat aces. So I'm thinking he's got queens. And he's in the tank. He's thinking, I'm doing what I normally do, which is just try to relax my neck, not clench my mouth, and stare into the pot. And I'm thinking he's about to fold now. And just when I'm about to be like, all right, you can see one card, I was gonna show him a jack. You can see one card. He goes, I call. And I go, I have a king. And he goes, jack one time. River, jack of hearts. So we get 5 outed there on the river, which happens. And I just kind of take a second, get up, walk away from the table, and he's like, you wanted that call. And he's right. And I was like, maybe this one time I didn't, but he was totally right. You do want that call, and that's part of poker. There are definitely ups and downs.